Progesterone versus chaste tree berry. Progesterone versus evening primrose oil. Progesterone versus wild yam cream. Which one do I recommend? And can you do both or multiple of these at the same time? This is often a question that I get. In fact, I just got it yesterday because women may not want to take hormones. They don't know if they're ready for hormones. They maybe want to try a quote unquote natural route. So a berry or an oil or a cream seems like the best way to go. Let's dive into it. First of all, progesterone is just like the progesterone I'm referring to in your body. So when you ovulate or release an egg, if you still do that, the cells left over will pump out a hormone called progesterone. Progesterone is generally known as it's our progestation hormone. So if you were trying to get pregnant, it helps with reproduction, implantation, growing a baby. But it's also our calming, soothing, relaxing hormones. It's helpful in the bone. It's helpful in the brain. It's helpful all over. Now, some people are like, I feel like I'm too young for hormones. I don't know that I want hormones, but my progesterone is low. Can I try something else? Can I try chaste tree berry? Can I try evening primrose oil? I've heard wild yam cream is the same thing. Let's get into what makes these similar, if there is anything, or very, very different. And like I said, if you can do it at the same time. Chaste tree berry is from a berry. It's exactly what it sounds like. We also call it Vitex ignis castus. Now, the research shows that chaste tree berry helps to reduce a hormone in our body called prolactin. Now, prolactin is a prolactation hormone that increases when you're breastfeeding. However, it can slightly increase for other non-breastfeeding reasons. A big one that I'm not going to talk about is a prolactinoma or a tumor in the prolactin. That's like a worst case scenario and not what I mean. I'm talking about there are other reasons to slightly increase prolactin. If you don't have enough dopamine, if you are hypothyroid and it's not being treated very well, if you're low in vitamin B6, if you're having a lot of stress, like these things can slightly increase prolactin. Then what happens is the body goes, oh goodness, are we breastfeeding? What are we doing? And it can throw off your cycle and throw off your progesterone production. So when you take chaste tree or Vitex, that will increase dopamine and support the suppression of prolactin, which means your cycle can go back on track and you might make more progesterone. And that's why people are like, oh, when I take chaste tree, my progesterone went up. That's what the research is showing. It works on this other hormone called prolactin. What I have found anecdotally over the many years, 20 plus years of using chaste tree, is that it acts like an adaptogen. Like it helps the entire brain ovary system adapt and subsequently make progesterone when it's supposed to. I find that chaste tree works better in the younger demographic. So if you're early 40s, not quite or just sort of into perimenopause and younger. So the 20s, the 30s, again, like if you're not quite perimenopausal at 41, 42, 43, then it may work really well here. If you're already solidly perimenopausal at 41, 42, 43, it's probably not going to work that well because at that point, at some tipping point in perimenopause, the cells that are supposed to make progesterone just don't. And no amount of chaste tree is going to bring that back. So that's why you often see chaste tree in the younger decades, not so much in the older decades when it relates to progesterone. So when people say to me progesterone versus chaste tree, Carrie, what would you do? You can do one or the other. You can do both. I usually recommended chaste tree to my patients every day of the cycle. And I would tell them it would take about 3 months for it to really kick in. That if you don't notice anything after a week or two, we have to get through cycles here. And the ability of your body to take a follicle, what we call a preantral follicle, and grow it up into a mature follicle that's going to ovulate takes about 90 days, 3 months, 3 cycles. That whole process is called folliculogenesis. So if you're only like, it's been a week, this isn't working. I'm like, I know, because you're only a week into 90 days. We have to let it do its job. I also like chaste tree every day of the cycle. Some people are like, shouldn't you do it in the luteal phase because it supports progesterone? No, because in order to support progesterone in the luteal phase, I have to have a really healthy follicular phase, which is the first part. So I don't treat chaste tree like I treat progesterone. I don't cycle it. It's not meant to be cycled. I don't think. I think you should take it every day through the cycle for at least 90 days. Now, here's where people will say, can I add progesterone in though? Can I do chaste tree, but in my luteal phase, in my second half after ovulation, can I add in progesterone? As usual, No matter what, always talk to your prescriber. But the answer is yes, progesterone and chaste tree do play well together. And I have people that are temporarily on progesterone. Maybe they're in their 30s, temporarily on progesterone, to give them the progesterone support, but we're using chaste tree and other things to help bring their cycle back or help get their ovulation better. I will say though, once you get older, once you are solidly into perimenopause, once progesterone is just not being produced because you are just running out of follicles, I do not find that chaste tree works that well. I usually suggest don't take it, save your money. At that point, you probably need to talk to your prescriber about regular old progesterone. That leads me to number 2. Progesterone versus evening primrose oil. I have a lot of people asking me because of the research on evening primrose oil, does that increase progesterone? Well, evening primrose oil, of course, is an oil, and it is high in a part of an oil called gamma-linoleic acid, GLA. Now, it's not the highest. Borage oil is higher, black currant is higher, but evening primrose has long, through the centuries of herbalists and natural healers, been used as more like a woman's oil. And when we use evening primrose oil, it's thought that because of that GLA that's in it, it reduces inflammation and reduces what are called inflammatory cytokines. And when we reduce inflammation, we have that good oil in our system, then we can reduce inflammation in the brain, which will then hopefully, if that's the reason we don't make progesterone or we're not ovulating, signal, go ahead and ovulate and go ahead and make progesterone. So we want to use that anti-inflammatory aspect of evening primrose oil to support the downstream production of progesterone. Is evening primrose oil the same as progesterone? No, it's just like chaste tree. Chaste tree is not the same thing as taking progesterone. They work in different manners to try to help your own body make progesterone on its own. Now, again, very much like chaste tree, somebody says, I'm doing evening primrose oil every day, but I'm also doing progesterone in the luteal phase. Do they play well together? And the answer is yes, they do play well together. But once you're perimenopausal, if you're just using the evening primrose oil to try to get the progesterone up, like once you're in the middle of perimenopause, just like chaste tree, it's not going to work like that anymore. Not in my experience. It's still a good oil. It's still like where people say like fish oil is that, helpful. It's anti-inflammatory. Yes, evening primrose oil still has that GLA in it. Borage oil, black currant oil, it still has that healthy GLA. It's still good for the cells. It's still anti-inflammatory. But if you were specifically like, well, no, I just want my progesterone up, then at that point, we're like looking at progesterone therapy, talking to a prescriber about progesterone. But much like chaste tree, they can be taken at the same time. And much like chaste tree, evening primrose oil is generally an everyday thing, as opposed to cycling it, which progesterone, if you still get your cycle and you're still trying to mimic when you ovulate, you would only do progesterone after ovulation. This is our cycling of progesterone. Now that leads me to number 3, wild yam or wild yam cream, because people will say to me, it's the same, Carrie. Wild yam is what makes progesterone. It's where we get it from. And that is true in a lab. So progesterone, the hormone, is synthesized in a lab synthetically from wild yam. It can also be made from soy, but let's keep with the wild yam. When we convert wild yam into progesterone, so we can put it in creams and we can put it in capsules and we can put it in lozenges, we can use progesterone as the hormone. It goes through an extremely high heating process and then a multi-step process after that. If you just take wild yam, you just buy it out over the counter, you just apply a little wild yam cream on your arm, and you're thinking automatically this will turn into progesterone. You are mistaken. Because we cannot get our bodies to convert it high enough heat for the first step and then the subsequent reactions that have to happen after that. It just doesn't happen. Now, wild yam as an herb has been used, again, for centuries for women's health, but it's not a one-to-one with progesterone. Here's why we think it's a one-to-one with progesterone, and it involves a little controversy. So in the early wild yam creams, they would spike it with progesterone, but they wouldn't put it on the label because the FDA didn't require that back then, or they were doing it illegally. So they would call it wild yam cream, but they had spiked it with progesterone. So women were like, I love this. And their progesterone would go up on lab work and they would feel better. And they were like, I love this herbal cream. Wild yam is the best. Turns out it was progesterone being added. So subsequently, because women were buying this so much, other companies said, well, we can make wild yam cream too, except they didn't know that the original makers were spiking it with progesterone. So they didn't spike it with progesterone, and then wild yam cream became a thing. And then because we know that progesterone creams, real creams, and pills and lozenges and stuff can be synthesized from wild yam, people started to associate with, well, the cream still works because it automatically turns into progesterone in the body. And it doesn't. It can't. It physically can't. But again, wild yam has long time been used as a women's health herb. So can a woman use wild yam cream and say to me, I feel better. I feel like my cycles are more regular. I ovulated. It helps. Yes, because wild yam is an herb unto itself. Well, an herbal category, right? Wild yam is part of more of a root tuber. But still, yes, it can be very, very helpful in the body. But is it automatically turned into progesterone? No. And do I find it helpful when somebody is in the middle of perimenopause and her ability to ovulate is not what it used to be, and the cells are trying to make progesterone? No. It's much like chaste tree. It's much like evening primrose oil. And to be honest, wild yam, which is also known as Dioscorea, we just don't use single-handedly by itself and think like, oh, this is absolutely going to raise progesterone. Good in general. You'll see it in blends for women's health at all ages because it is a long time known women's health herb. But does it magically induce ovulation? No. And does it automatically increase progesterone? Like I said, no. Can you take them both at the same time? Yes. Always talk to your healthcare provider, of course. And if you're being prescribed progesterone and you're using wild yam for the other, like women's health in general benefits, generally considered okay. Absolutely. Much like chaste tree and evening primrose, we tend to do wild yam every day of the cycle, or every day, even if you've got irregular cycles. Whereas progesterone, we tend to cycle in and cycle out. We tend to only put it in the luteal phase. Now, I will give the caveat for progesterone just in the luteal phase that if you're trying to maintain your own ovulation and you're trying to match your own cycle, that's how we use it. We put it in just the luteal phase because progesterone is a negative feedback loop. If you take a lot of progesterone, your brain registers there's a lot of progesterone. Don't ovulate. So if you are trying to maintain your own production and just add on top of it, you don't want to take progesterone before ovulation. Be very careful before, and of course the dose, the higher the dose, the more you're likely to get that negative feedback and suppress your own production. But if you don't care, if you are at the point of perimenopause where you're like, I am not making much progesterone to begin with, like I make very little. I actually don't even know when I ovulate because I'm so perimenopausal. I'm not sure. Then follow the instructions from your prescriber on progesterone. They may have you take it most 3 weeks of the month. They may have you take it every single day, but your period, and stop during your period. They may have you take it 14 days on, 14 days off. Again, it depends on you, your cycle, your goals, if you're on estrogen or not, have ovaries and a uterus, of course. So there's a lot of nuance with progesterone. So I do want to say this, sometimes people go, well, I start taking my progesterone like day 10 or day 12, but I want to keep my own ovulation. I'm like, well, if you ovulate after day 10 or after day 12, you might suppress it, just FYI. But some women are like, Carrie, I do not care. I am old enough. I'm not making progesterone. I just do progesterone 14 days on, 14 days off, or 3 weeks on and 1 week off, or whatever their prescriber says. And I'm like, fantastic, amazing. Because at some point you're going to stop ovulating. And at some point you're not going to make your own progesterone. And if you want progesterone, then using progesterone therapy is really the only way to get it back at this point. So I hope that helps break down chaste tree versus evening primrose oil versus wild yam cream. Those natural ways are very women's health coded. They've been used for a long time by natural healers and herbalists. There's research on them, yes. But if true progesterone is what you're after, you are actually literally looking to replace progesterone, then progesterone is what you need. Actual bioidentical progesterone is what you need. Now, I have a whole lot of information about progesterone. I have a lot of options for you to listen to about progesterone. If you're curious about progesterone and the forms of progesterone or the side effects of progesterone, I got you. I got you covered. But because I love to play in the natural and herbal world, and this is a question I get a lot, and I know hormones can be confusing, I wanted to make sure that I answered it for you because, again, hormones, even in the natural world, feel like herding cats, and I'm here to help.